Dissociative identity disorder was formerly called multiple personality disorder. It often goes unnoticed among the general population. Those who suffer from this disorder lead a terrifying and disturbed life. Dissociative Identity Disorder Awareness Day, which is observed each year in the month of March, aims to spread awareness of this disorder's existence and create understanding and compassion towards the people who are going through it. At MediCircle, we are conducting an exclusive series on the occasion of dissociative identity disorder so that the people are able to understand what the disorder is directly from the experts. Hi, this is Sana Khan, and today in this initiative, we are going to speak to Dr. Sheba Singh. Dr. Sheba Singh has done her doctorate in psychology after winning gold medal in her post-graduation. She has diverse experience in academia, social endeavors, and practice for close to a couple of decades. She has many research papers to her credit, which has been published in different psychology journals. She is an avid speaker at conferences and seminars. She has conducted many workshops and discourses on anxiety, depression, relaxation techniques, and parenting, bullying, basic counseling skills in practice, etc. She's also been invited in TV shows as a parenting expert. She has mentored and supervised many graduates and postgraduates in psychology students in university like SNDT Mumbai. Many students have interned under her. Currently, she practices in Powai, Mumbai as consultant psychologist and is a senior affiliate with one of India's leading employee assistance program, that is EAP providers. Hi, Dr. Sheba, how are you?
I'm good, Sana. Thank you.
Welcome to MediCircle, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, ma'am, what must a person do to heal himself from dissociative identity disorder?
Okay, Sana, if you allow, I would want to start with the word dissociation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is called dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
So dissociation, the literal meaning of dissociation is disconnection.
Right.
So here we are talking about disconnection with the self.
Okay.
Right? With the self, with memory, with consciousness.
Right.
So a person who and what causes it? This is a coping mechanism.
Okay.
But this is not a very good coping mechanism. But this is how we cope with the stresses which a child gets during childhood, in the form of say sexual abuse,
Right.
physical abuse, or emotional abuse,
Right.
or any other accident which is traumatic.
Okay.
So this is a stress based disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So first of all, if it is a stress based disorder, how can we help, or how can a patient help himself if he has that kind of a stress which is coming from his childhood?
Right.
So first of all, he has to identify his stressors,
Right.
and to identify, maybe he can write down, he can journal his stresses or his triggers which trigger and alter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He goes into another personality.
Right.
Right? That is what dissociation is. Right? So when he identifies the triggers, he would get to know that he has to avoid those triggers.
Right.
Right? Then when because it's a stress based disorder, we have to um, say get rid of the stress.
Okay.
So maybe he can exercise some relaxation exercises, maybe some deep breathing, some
Mm-hmm.
progressive muscle relaxation, some yoga, shavasana, to relieve himself from any stresses.
Okay.
Now, number three, he can get support from family,
Mm-hmm.
from friends, from some support groups, people who are suffering from dissociative identity disorder. They have they are in a similar situation, and they
Mm-hmm.
can help each other in
Right.
support groups. And finally, maybe if he's not able to cope with it, he can go for psychotherapy.
Okay.
And that's the only thing, that's the only treatment for dissociative identity disorder. Right? Maybe they can go in for some medicine also later. But then medicine is not for dissociative identity disorder. It can be for associated disorders like depression,
Right.
like
Like
substance abuse,
anxiety or any,
like
right.
suicidal tendencies. Yeah. Yes.
Doctor, are there any
Yes.
specific behaviors that we should try to inculcate in our children's personalities to prevent occurrence of dissociative identity disorder?
Hmm. Yeah, as I said, Sana, that this is a stress based disorder,
Right.
and the stress comes from the childhood,
Right.
right? So, when we are dealing with children, yeah, because this is a major stressor from childhood, so primarily the prevention may involve giving a stress free environment to the child
Mm-hmm.
and having authoritative parenting style
Right.
so that the child feels good. Now, having said this, you know, not everybody reacts in the same manner. Not every
Right.
child who experiences stress in childhood would have the DID.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody responds in a different manner. So people who resist or are resilient to stress may not have DID.
Okay. So it depends person to person, individual to
Exactly.
individual. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Shiva, can a person suffering from this disorder harm another person?
I know where it is coming from.
Uh-huh.
Probably the psychological thrillers which we watch
Right.
these
Right. Right.
days come up with the alters which are evil or
Right.
criminals,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's not true,
Okay.
you know. That's not true. A person, an alter personality, may
Mm-hmm.
be angry as a normal person is angry,
Okay.
but then he would not harm anybody like that,
Right.
right? Rather they harm themselves. They
Okay.
have suicidal tendencies.
Okay.
Yes. So there are high chances of suicidal tendencies in dissociative identity disorder patients, and they self harm, which
Mm-hmm.
is non suicidal also sometimes.
Okay.
It's the other way around. They don't harm others, they harm themselves.
Right. Okay, doctor, what can family members or friends of patients suffering from dissociative identity disorder do to keep situations under control?
Okay, it's just like an air hostess saying that you put your oxygen mask first
Right.
yourself and then help others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I would say that the caregivers need to help themselves first, put their
Correct.
guards on first, uh, take care of their physical and mental health first, and
Right.
then help the patient.
Right.
Right? It's very exhausting to see a friend or a family member going through altered personality.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine talking to your friend one moment, and another moment you're talking to somebody else.
Right.
Right? That's an altered personality. So it's very exhausting. It's very difficult.
It needs a
It's
lot of patience, I guess.
exactly, and it's patience also, and then the trauma which you get
Right.
when
Right.
you see your family member like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said you put your guards on first, and
Right.
then you help your relative or friend. It's very important.
Right.
And also you need to understand, you need to identify his stresses so that you are able to help him avoid, or
Okay.
suppose the trigger can be maybe some kind of smell,
Mm-hmm.
right, which can trigger an alter personality, so you
A
can
smell or
avoid
a
that smell.
place, any incident that can
A person.
recall. Right. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
that's
the partner or whoever is helping them, the caregiver, should be able to understand and understand the
exactly
trigger, right?
right, and help him avoid, or maybe avoid for him, so maybe he can take him away from that trigger.
Right.
That's how he can help.
Okay, Dr. Sheba, thank you so much for coming to our show and sharing your valuable time and insights with us. It has been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Sana. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.